You had almost everything in the world wrong with you. I wrote down
yeah.
peritonitis,
Yeah.
pleurisy, tuberculosis, problems with your appendix. I mean, you were a mess during adolescence and puberty.
Yeah, but I think that's part of what I am today. You know, because all those experiences that you go through make you what you are. And, you know, at 7, I had my birthday in hospital. I had peritonitis, really bad. And then I had my 14th birthday in hospital with tuberculosis. And when I was 13 in this hospital, in those days you took streptomycin and fresh air. They moved us to a greenhouse away from where I lived in Liverpool. And streptomycin was the pill. And put you in bed for months. So I'm in bed like 10 months. And to keep us entertained, people would come in, teachers, and one woman used to come in, not so often, but she came in, and she had percussive instruments. You know, she had maracas and tambourines and a little drum that you hit, and she'd point to the red dot on the chart, and you'd hit the drum, or the yellow dot, you know. And I hit that drum, and it was amazing. I only would play the drum in this mad band that she'd bring in. And I only ever wanted to be a drummer from when I was 13. I didn't want to be a guitarist or a piano player. Well, later on I wanted to be a piano player, but it just was one of those moments in my life that I wanted to be a drummer.
Well, forgive me for the personal reference, but I had rheumatic fever when I was a child.
Yeah, well.
11 and 13. Bedridden for most of the time.
Yeah.
And while I aspired to being a reporter before then, in those moments, and they were lonely moments by myself in bed, fearful, all of that, that's when I said to myself, I've got to be a journalist. I've got to be a reporter. And this is what happened with you with the drum.
Yeah.
Now, question, and you can only give me your opinion. Would it have happened if you had not been bedridden for a long time and in the hospital?
We don't know. We don't know. I was, and I did. You know, that's all I know. Yeah, I can't live in that world, you know, about if only I'd have done this, if only I'd have done that. I mean, that's the thing, that the things you don't do are the ones that haunt you for the rest of your life. You know, at 19, I was trying to emigrate to Houston, Texas, because my favorite blues player, Lightning Hopkins, lived around there. And we went to the embassy, and we got all these forms, me and my friend. And then we got a form of factory jobs, you know, to try and get it. They gave us permission. And anyway, we were teenagers. We signed all these forms. We filled them in, and we took them back. And they said, "And here's the next lot of forms." And we were teenagers. You know, it ripped the buggers up and carried on.
So much for Houston and Lightning Hopkins.
Well, I still love Lightning Hopkins.
But how'd you get from Lightning Hopkins to Ernest Tubb?
I love music, and you know, I got to big bands through my stepdad, Harry, and Sarah Vaughan. That was one of the great lines. He said, you know, I'd play what I was listening to, and he never like said, "Oh, that stuff." You know, said, "Have you heard this?" And he'd play Sarah Vaughan. "Have you heard this?" Billy Eckstine, Billy Daniels, Glenn Miller. He had his record collection, and you know, so I've always appreciated that. And the early rock and roll, like Little Richard, you know, they did it in like one take. It was mono. They rocked, you know. So I don't know. All of that impressed me. And you know, the maddest story I have is that in Liverpool, at 4 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, my friend Roy and I never went anywhere because they had Alan Freed's rock and roll radio show. But it came from Luxembourg, because the BBC didn't play rock and roll. So they must have had the biggest antenna known to man, I don't know. But it came through the radio, and it was so great. And that's where we started to hear what was happening in America. And that's why we were excited when we came to America with the Beatles, because all our music had come from there.